Yo, you're listening to All Elite Podcast. Boom.
And it is the worst podcast ever. We live! Ow!
Breaking Terry, Scorpio Sky, Ultimate Daniels, Collective SoCal Epicenter, or SCU.
This is Isaiah Cassidy. I'm Mark Quinn, and we're Private Podcast.
This is the All Elite Podcast,
And you're listening to the All Elite Podcast.
which happens to be the worst podcast I've ever been on. SCU!
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the All Elite Podcast right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I am your host, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, and I'm not joined by my co-host today. Tiffany is feeling under the weather today, so I'll be doing this podcast solo today. That's right. Rocking it solo, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Tiffany has been battling a cold all week, so I hope that she gets better. So hope we get better, Tiff, so you can get back on with me. Doing this solo is not always the greatest, but I'm going to get through for you guys today. So yeah, let's hope everything goes well. Although OBS already has been, looks like it's wreaking havoc already. So I apologize if it does seem choppy on YouTube. Apparently the voice and the audio is okay. It's just the picture, and apparently it's not even just us. I've seen other YouTubers are experiencing this issue, so I'm gonna have to dig deep and find out what the hell this issue with OBS is going on with letting us go on YouTube Live. Buddy, OBS, man.
You blew it!
Yeah, you damn blew it. But guys, welcome to the All Elite Podcast, where usually myself and Tiff, but me alone today, would go over and catch you guys up with everything that's going on in that AEW world. We do Dynamite Recap, pay-per-view predictions, and reviews, as we just did for Revolution. Those are live on the channel. Yeah, just kind of like to have fun here. Chat some AEW. Try to stay positive. Always nice to stay positive. Too much negativity on the wrestling Twitter world, so try to bring some positive light over to the podcast side. We're talking some A-dubs. Man, oh man, what a week it's been. Especially on, what was it, Wednesday? Is when Matt Hardy basically broke Twitter with his free to delete episode. Also, guys, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, thank you for watching live. I'm going to try my best to get to that chat to see what you guys are talking about, but I have so much crap running on my screen right now that it's hard to switch and maneuver through. So everyone that's in the live chat right now is like, I see actually Tiff's in there. So Tiff, I guess, will be the moderator of the chat as best she can. Like everything pro wrestling, MGF Scarf, David Reed, Eric Clark, Josh's Toy Show, WWE. What's going on, guys? And to any silent listeners that don't like chatting, what's going on? I appreciate you guys coming back to the podcast each and every single week here on youtube.com/NoHoldsBarNetwork. Thank you if you're on the go listener downloading this episode. Really do appreciate it. We see all the downloads. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Got to talk some AEWs because this week in that AEW world, it's been a crazy one. It's been, especially Wednesday, like I said. Wednesday, Matt Hardy basically broke Twitter with his free to delete with Matt and Nick Jackson appeared again, like Bucks of Youth. I knew you'd come. And I exploded. I'm like, oh shit, okay, so it's real. They actually are going through with this. There's not a lot of details have been released. We don't know all the details just yet. All signs are pointing towards Matt Hardy being All Elite. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens as time goes on. There's no update on if he's the Exalted One. Is it just going to be his broken Matt Hardy character in AEW? Who knows? Either way, anything with Matt Hardy and that broken character is awesome in AEW because A, he's going to be given full creative freedom over that character and what he wants to do with it. And B, we're going to get probably all that creative juice and all that stuff we had in Impact on AEW television with their production team and, their creative minds to help Matt Hardy a bit when he does need that help. So I'm looking forward to Matt Hardy. If it is true that he's going to be in AEW, we'll have to see. I'm only thinking that I don't know if he actually is the Exalted One. Like, I really don't. Like, I contemplated it for weeks leading up to this, and then now with what they've done, I'm like, who knows? Who actually knows? Because we didn't get the reveal this week. Everyone thought that this week was going to be the week, especially about what Matt Hardy has done. This was going to be the Dynamite where we finally got the Exalted One. But no, it looks like they're doing a slow build with that. That's interesting. So we'll get into that when we get into that with the Dynamite recap. Like they do every week, they did announce 3 matches for the next show, which next week is in Salt Lake City, Utah at the Maverick Center. We got a huge 6-man tag team match. This is awesome. So we got Janela teaming up with our boys, me and Tiff's boys, Private Party. Finally seeing them back on Dynamite. Hell yeah. Gotta love when we see Private Party back on Dynamite. And they're facing this new team called the Death Triangle. I'm not going to begin to say or how to pronounce it in Spanish. They said it on Dynamite this week. I'll wait for the proper pronunciation so I can practice and get it on this podcast for you guys and say it properly. But as of right now, the English translation is Death Triangle. So Pac and the Lucha Brothers. So I got some thoughts about that when we talk about it on the Dynamite recap. But next week, Death Triangle versus Janela and the Private Party. We also got Cody with Arn Anderson facing off against Ortiz in a singles match. So this is an interesting match. It's an interesting dynamic. I'm excited for that. So Ortiz with Santana, Cody with Arn Anderson next week. And then we have another huge 6-man tag team match. We have the Jurassic Express facing off against MGF, the Butcher, and the Blade. So if we remember back when MGF did hire the Butcher and the Blade, like paying them off, looks like the services are still there, or maybe he didn't buy them out. Maybe this is just a friendship thing. Like there's a mutual respect between two heels. So, but we got the Butcher, the Blade, my boy Braxton Sutter, back when I used to know him as Pepper Parks. And then Ali was Cherry Bomb. For you people that know deep about their wrestling roots, you know what I'm talking about. That's when I first met them. They're really cool. Both of them are really cool. So, yeah, 3 pretty good matches lined up for next week's Dynamite. So, it's going to be interesting. I'm pumped. They just leave you each and every single week wanting more, and then they when they announce those matches for next week, you're just like, okay, I can't wait till the next Dynamite. Or when they do the dark matches, like the AEW Dark, they announce those matches prior, and you're like, okay, now I got to watch Dark. Like AEW is just so good. It's such a feel good brand. It's amazing. Anywho, Rihu. Yeah, I didn't really see much else except that. Was it the Wrestling Observer released their awards? And I want to thank my boy Kyle Prescott for putting those tweets out about the awards. I'm going to read them off his page right now. So shout out to you, Kyle. Actually, was actually going to get him on the podcast today, but unfortunately he had some errands to do. But we'll get you on another day, Kyle. So the main one, Chris Jericho won Wrestler of the Year, beating Kazuchika Okada, which was huge. He had a whopping 500. I think he was coming in at a whopping 562 points above the placed Okada. So that was interesting. So I'm gonna just go down Kyle's page here. He did he did put out the awards here. Promotion of the year was actually New Japan Pro Wrestling, and in number 2, All Elite Wrestling came in. But they won by a whopping 744 to 389 to AEW. So. WWE coming in 3rd, NWA 4th, UFC 5th, and then this is a Wrestling Observer yearly awards, guys, from 2019. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, Tony Khan was voted Promoter of the Year for 2019, so that's pretty big for AEW. Double or Nothing was voted the best major wrestling show of 2019. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of everything that's happened in 2019. If they're matching that up against last year's Wrestle Kingdom, maybe I probably would have maybe given a slighter hand to Wrestle Kingdom. I imagine it probably came in a close second, but I think just won that award because of all the hype. It was AEW's first event. There were so many matches going into that, like John Moxley debuting, and it was just, people were curious, and everyone watched, the whole world watched to see what AEW's first pay-per-view was going to be like. So good on them for winning that award. Lance Archer, this kind of has to now do with AEW. Lance Archer was voted the most improved wrestler of 2019. Jungle Boy was voted Rookie of the Year in 2019, so that's pretty good. Dynamite was voted the best weekly TV show of 2019, yet it only started in October. So take what you will with that. The Lucha Bros were voted Tag Team of the Year, and obviously the main award, Chris Jericho was voted Wrestler of the Year. And then this past tag team match at Revolution was given a 6-star by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So just kind of touch base there with the awards. I mean, you guys can do what you want with those awards. You can choose to buy them. You can choose to not buy them. It's opinion based. It's all how the Wrestling Observer does it. If I'm not mistaken, they gather what everyone. It's from everyone that subscribed to the newsletter and all their reactions. They kind of gather that, and that generates the winners. I could be mistaken. I haven't really dig deep into the wrestling award. I've just seen these pop up on my Twitter feed today. But yeah. So those were those quote unquote awards by the Wrestling Observer, to majority AEW winning the bulk of them. So yeah, I guess we can just give a quick round of applause to AEW. Good for them. All right, so I didn't really see much else, although, okay, so the one thing was Lance Archer. He was supposed to make his debut on Dynamite this week. According to reports, it was all a go until they had creatively changed plans for Lance Archer. So they're saying that the original idea was for him to debut. They had an idea for him for this week, but they changed it. So something has been changed with Lance Archer in terms of AEW. Don't know if they changed their minds on him being the Exalted One. Is he going to be this guy that Jake Roberts was talking about this week? Or maybe they just have something completely different in store for Lance Archer. So we'll see what happens. And take a look at the live chat. Tiffany said, "Ooh, we have sound effects now." Yeah, Tiffany, I was going to debut it this week, but of course you're sick. But I found a way to do like sound effects while we're doing podcasting. I forgot to tell you that. So I actually was going to make it a surprise, but there you go. So for next time we're on, we'll have sound effects. Yes, so Lance Archer. So that's one of the reasons I've read that she won't be on, or Lance Archer won't be on Dynamite. I don't think Tiff will be on Dynamite next week, unless, Tiffany, we all see ya. It's not my hat. My hat ain't the Exalted One. I'm not the Exalted One. We know. You and your horns. We know. You're the Exalted One. We know it, Tiff. The listeners know it. You are. They'll play into your story on Twitter in the chat. We know you're the Exalted One. We know you're going to make your debut soon. Mm-hmm. You should sound effect me in. She says, "I don't have you as a sound effect. You're the Exalted One. You figure it out." Anywho, let's get into some Dynamat Recap, folks. It's a good episode. We were this is a fallout from AEW Revolution. Revolution was a sweet pay-per-view. It was awesome. It was sick. We had a 6-star match because it was sick then. Just all the stories that came out of that, some of the stories that ended, some of these stories have now continued. We've seen on this week's Dynamite. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. I think they did a good job with Dynamite this week with restarting or starting some of the new storylines and carrying some of them to still keep us hype as even after this pay-per-view. So it looks like some of the storylines will continue into Double or Nothing, it seems, or maybe it's just up until Blood and Guts. They did announce that next week on the Utah show, they will be releasing the details on the AEW Blood and Guts type of what's it going to be all about, because we know it's like war game style of match. There's 2 rings surrounded by a cage. I imagine it's going to be like 4-on-4. Maybe it's going to be Dark Order versus the Elite. Who knows? I'm sure we're going to find out next week and get us hyped for it. And I'm jealous of Tiff. Tiff's going to see that. She's going to AEW Dynamite in New Jersey. So if you're down there, hit her up. Go say hi. Sure, she won't bite, but she is the exalted one, so be careful. So we'll have to see what happens with the debut of the rules of Blood and Guts. But as for this week, we were live from Denver, and the Mile High State, for the March 4th edition of Dynamite. Just gonna move my damn laptop in front of me here with my notes. Okay. So Jon Moxley kind of opened up Dynamite this week. So again, like I said, this was actually a pretty good episode of Dynamite. I was impressed with it because rather than getting the debut of Lance Archer and if Matt Hardy was going to make an appearance, you put those aside, and Brody Lee was maybe supposed to appear. They kind of teased it. Put all that aside, Dynamite was still sweet this week. I still think they did a good job. And they opened up the way they should with the new AEW champion, Jon Moxley, and the title just looks so good on Jon Moxley, and I know a lot of people will agree with that. He looks like an AEW World Champion. You can tell he's so happy with that championship, and this has been like a dream come true for him to be a major champion in a major promotion that actually means something to him. He cut a pretty good promo. Basically, like the one big thing he said, like in that promo, was that like AEW we're bringing back. You guys all the fans were the help to bring back professional wrestling, and the crowd was really hyped for this, and I was really hyped watching this. So, and it gave me goosebumps. So, if it's giving me goosebumps at home watching the show, like I've been watching wrestling for years and years. This was really good, and this promo hit me. He called out Chris Jericho, and Jericho came out. He says he doesn't. The one line he says is he doesn't need a title to still be le champion. Jericho is just good. He's just so good at promo. We know like he's a legend in this, and the way he cuts a promo, especially a heel promo, it's just so good. Like the part where he said he trained. It's not fair. Moxley's a cheater because Jericho has been training to face someone with one eye, and he could see the whole time. It was good. It was great, and he's ripping on the crowd. And Jericho says even tonight, he said, if you leave on your 2 feet tonight, Moxley, I will take a 30-day leave from AEW. And like, scratch that. I'll make it a 60-day leave. And, coincidentally, the crowd picked up on it right away because we're all smarks. Jericho's going on tour soon with Fozzy, and that 60 days conveniently is during that tour. But what we got tonight, Moxley didn't walk away on his 2 feet, so I don't know when this is going to happen. Maybe it's going to continue next week. We'll have to see. But it was a pretty good opening to Dynamite this week. I thought it was great. Moxley getting the hype as the world champion. Jericho basically telling him, like, you won't be walking out on your 2 feet tonight, and if you do, I will leave AEW for 60 days. So we got more of that in the end. And I was in the tag team match that they built for this, and that was Darby Allin was going to team up with Jon Moxley to face Jericho and Sammy G. And this was cool. So like Darby got a really amazing reaction, as he should. This guy just keeps getting more and more reaction on a weekly basis. He's just so good, and it's amazing how I'm actually happy for the kid that's getting all this traction from AEW and them believing in him and giving him the time of day, and the crowd just being in love with him. Like you see when the kid's dressed up as him, it's such a feel good moment for him and a feel good story with Darby. So he was going to team up with Moxley to face Jericho and Sammy G, the Spanish God, in the main event. Jericho, though, being the smart champion that he is, being the leader of the Inner Circle, cleverly. And at first, I honestly thought, and I know you guys are with me, I honestly thought that the Inner Circle that was there dressed with the lucha mask and the hoodies, at first I actually thought those were fans. I'm like, okay, so these fans just like don't care. They're just sitting there, and during Jon Moxley's entrance, they're just, those fans that kind of just go to shows and don't get hype. You've seen these people. And for a second, for like a good I'd say for a good 5 to 10 seconds, I thought those were fans. And as soon as I seen them get up, I'm like, okay, no, something's going on here. They jumped Moxley. They beat the hell out of him. They like threw him around in the concourse against the wall. They threw multiple trash cans on him. They dumped a couple on him. And the one part, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was Ortiz who dumped the garbage on him. And like Moxley did one of those selling things, went, oh. I'm like, what? What's going on here? Anyways, they're trying to incapacitate him. Jericho's watching on the jumbotron with a big grin on his face, and eventually they kind of like knock Moxley out cold, like quote unquote cold, and this basically turned to a handicap match. And Darby had to face Jericho and Sammy. And then eventually the rest of the Inner Circle came down to ringside. So it was basically like a 5-on-1. I think JR or Tony made mention of that. And he's right. It was basically like a 5-on-1 at that point. And I thought it was a very good match for what we got. Darby got a lot of offense in. I think he looked very good in the match. It made him look like a freaking star, especially Jericho. Moxley comes back after the match was done. Inner Circle did win with a huge move where Darby took a dive on the outside and Jericho gave him a Judas effect while he was diving on the outside. They rolled him back in, 1, 2, 3. That was it. I was really expecting, though. I'm going to hold it right there. I was really expecting, in my head, I was kind of visioning what I wanted to see out of that main event. I think what they should have done, and I'm glad for what they did do, but I think what they should have done was Jericho should have been like locking in a Walls of Jericho on Darby. Like, just picture that, his face is facing the screen, like the main stage ramp, and then he's just locking it in. Like, Darby's like doing all he can to not tap. And then you cue Jon Moxley's entrance theme. Like, you do this like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type of thing. The music hits. Jericho's like, whoa, what the hell? And all of Inner Circle is just like crazy and going, what the hell's going on? Then Moxley comes out of the entrance ramp limping. And I think that would have been a really cool moment. And he just comes in, he just destroys Inner Circle. And, maybe the referee's knocked out at this point too. And he goes after Jericho. And then maybe even after then, you could have had like maybe Hager come in and then start attacking Moxley and they keep going into the crowd. And then, Sammy G hits a move on Darby and Jericho steals the win. Something like that. I don't know. To me, that's what I was visioning in my head. But what we got what we got. Moxley came back after the match, just attacks everybody. Inner Circle, then I don't know if a lot of people caught this. I'm sure they did. If you know Moxley in his Ambrose era in WWE, what they did here, I caught right away, right off the bat. I'm like, okay, this was clever and this was wow. So they bring Moxley up to the stage. We get Moxley on that that platformish that they have where like the pyro comes out. You know what I mean? And what they do next? Wow. Okay, so they pull off a Shield powerbomb. If anyone didn't catch that, you have Santana and Ortiz on the side and Moxley, Hager playing the role of Roman Reigns, and they Shield powerbomb this dude off the stage through tables. This is the end here. It looks like they're all going for a Shield pose, but they like transition it into all giving the middle finger to Jon Moxley in the Shield pose form. That was great. I don't care. That is not a straight shot at WWE. It is a shot, but it's not a straight shot. This is a shot at Moxley and making fun of his history of where he came from. So I noticed that right away, and that was very, very cleverly done. I thought this was a good job, and I understand where they went here. There was the heat, the seeking of the heat from the crowd, and sticking it to Jon Moxley by giving him a Shield triple powerbomb off the stage. So it was hilarious. It was great. So that's what we got with them. I don't know if they're continuing that story, maybe for the time being, because we did get a promo at one point from MJF. And he cut a promo that was very, very good. So MJF was That was the only thing we got from him on TV this week. He was basically saying he's setting his sights on the AEW championship, and John Moxley saying he's going to do whatever it takes to get to that number one contendership. This is a very well done promo. Like, he was just ripping apart Cody Rhodes, and there was even that tattoo line he said at the end with that big dig at Cody Rhodes and his new tattoo, which was great. And he had also the T-shirt that said "I pinned Cody Rhodes" on it. So another very well done promo by MJF, the guy who is a probably one of the best heels in the business right now. I don't know if anyone can argue that. So looks like MJF is working his way to the championship. I think maybe they're going to go that route. Maybe they go MJF and John Moxley at Double or Nothing. I think that'd be a pretty cool match. I'd love to see MJF and Moxley go at it, or maybe this is going to be a championship match before. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But as of right now, MJF has set his sights on the number one contendership for Moxley's AEW title. So we'll see what happens as the weeks go on. So the Dark Order. So if we backtrack here to what I was saying earlier in the podcast, Matt Hardy, everyone was waiting to see if Matt Hardy was going to be the Exalted One. So Dark Order had a early on match. I think it was the second match in the show, and they are facing SCU and Colt Cabana. So the new All Elite Wrestling signee, Colt Cabana. It was SCU, Colt Cabana against Dark Order. So it was a 4-on-4 tag team match. So before I talk about that, I just got to take a sip of water. Yes. No, I'm not preluding to anything. Matt Hardy did not debut on AEW Dynamite this week, and there was no Exalted One either. So Christopher Daniels seems to have kind of like earned the trust back of Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian. You can even see in the entrance, they all seem like they're back to normal. Colt Cabana got a pretty good reaction. This is technically his first AEW scheduled match in a 4-on-4 tag team match. People still wondering who the Exalted One is. Is it going to be Matt Hardy? Is it going to be Lance Archer? Is Brody Lee going to be him? We don't know. But we do know is it didn't make his debut this week. So this is a bigger build. So now it's either he's going to make his appearance on a Dynamite, or we're going to have to wait until Double or Nothing. So we're going to have to wait 2 more months until we finally get the Exalted One. There are benefits to that, and then there are cons to that. Benefits would be like this is a long build, and the payoff could ultimately be really good. The downfall is if you might start losing traction if you don't do good things to build until then. You know what I mean? You're going to get people to kind of just go, okay, they're just going to keep saying, oh, he's coming. Oh, he's coming. People are going to lose interest eventually. Unless, like I said, they do a good job of keeping you invested. They keep up with the teases. They keep up with maybe he makes sort of an appearance. Like there's this cloaked figure. You don't see anything that appears on the stage one day and walks away. They need to keep your interest in it if this is going to be a long build. We'll have to see we have to wait and see what it's going to be. Is it going to be the long build to Double or Nothing, or are we going to get the Exalted One on a Dynamite? Maybe a Blood and Guts during the War Games match. Maybe that will be the debut. Who knows? There are so many predictions out there. I've read so many, and a lot of them are good. I don't know. I'm on the fence because I was all Matt Hardy up until I seen that video with the Young Bucks and him not making a debut. I'm like, okay, they could still, but maybe not. Maybe we're just gonna get Broken Matt. And I'm so okay with the broken gimmick just coming to AEW as itself. So I'm more than okay with that. So that's what we got. Colt Cabana looked good. I mean, it's basically classic Colt Cabana. He gets the win as well, so they gave him the nod with his, I think they call it the Skyline drop or the Sky drop, something like that, his finisher, and then the Superman pin. I thought it was pretty cool. So they gave him the nod for the win, and Dark Order was pissed after, and he kind of cuts a really quick promo, like saying the Exalted One's not going to be happy. Then there was like an awkward silence, and then the music started. So it is what it is. We had one women's match this week on Dynamite, very quick. I noticed that with a lot of the matches, they're getting them through, like when they are quick, even the endings. They didn't take long to transition to the next match. And And this was another quick one. So Big Swole was facing Leva Bates. Britt Baker was on cringe commentary again. Thank God it was a short match, because God, I can't take Britt Baker on commentary, guys. I can't. I'm really trying my best to get invested in her, and it's really not working. I think they kind of have to retool her a little bit, because I'm not buying it, and it's really taken away from the match, because I actually like Big Swole. I love her in-ring work, and it was kind of taken away from that. But it was a short match. Basically squashed Leva Bates. I've noticed that Swole's getting more popularity with the AEW fans as well, so that's always a plus. Always good to gain momentum in the division, as she has been. So Big Swole getting, ranking herself up there. So good for her. So that was really it. The other big thing that's happened on Dynamite this week was the whole Cody Rhodes kind of thing. Cody Rhodes was had an in-ring segment with MJF. Or no, I'm not reading this right. Damn notes. Cody Rhodes had an in-ring segment, but they showed an MJF sign when he came out. That's what I'm trying to say. So the MJF sign of the week, and then we haven't done one of these in a while, and I got it for you guys. I put it up here. Actually, AEW Wrestling on TNT's Twitter account put it up. They actually captioned it. Anytime we get an MJF sign like this, it's an instant contender for sign of the night. Copying our ideas, TNT. What are you doing? We do the MJF sign of the night. That's okay. You guys can have it. The MJF sucks toes. Yep, that is the sign for the MJF sucks toes. Don't know where that girl got that from. She just thought of it at the top of her head, but MJF sucks toes was the MJF sign this week. Right. Anyways, anywho. So Cody Rhodes has an in-ring segment. He basically calls out MJF, but Jake Roberts comes out, and this was a shock to me because he wasn't advertised. There was no rumors of MJF doing anything with AEW this week, so this kind of was a shock to me to see him there, and it was good to see him. This was like, if you know Jake Roberts' story, you seeing him in this ring was a feel-good moment as well, and he cut a ruthless promo on Cody. Like, he didn't hold back. He was relentless. He basically, there was that one line he said about the pie, or he's like, I ain't coming for the whole pie, just your share of AEW. And that was like a dagger moment in that promo. But he did mention in this promo that he has a client and that they are targeting Cody. We don't know who this client is. This could be one of two people, I'd say. So this could be a Lance Archer or a Brody Lee, I'm going to assume. I don't think it's anyone new. I can't really think of anyone new that it would be. It's got to be like a Brody Lee or a Lance Archer. People kind of dissected his promo a little bit. So I'm thinking it's probably Brody Lee, maybe. We don't know, because they did scratch the plans for Lance Archer this week, and then Jake Roberts was probably the fill-in for Lance Archer. So maybe it's not Lance Archer, maybe it is Brody Lee, or maybe it is, and we kind of wanted to have Jake Roberts go out there to build up Lance Archer. So who knows? Let me know what you guys think out there. Guys, comment down in the comments. Tweet at us at All Elite Pod. Let us know what you think, or who you think the client of Jake the Snake Roberts is. I want to know. So you guys let us know out there. But yeah, again, such a good promo by Jake Roberts. Excuse me. I thought it was really well done. Again, it was very ruthless. Like, I was not expecting this out of Jake Roberts, but he went after Cody hard, and this is a good build-up. This is a good start to this, because I think this is going to end the story between MJF and Cody for now. So we're getting that slow transition into his next feud. So whoever it is, whoever his client is going to be targeting Cody, and I assume that'll be Cody's match for Double or Nothing. They'll have a nice build up until then. Other than that, Chuck Taylor and Pac faced each other on AEW this week. This was mainly done for the more of a build between Orange Cassidy and Pac, which kind of looks like that's what they're doing until we got what we got at the end. So Other than that, the match was good. We saw an awful waffle by Chucky T. That was cool to see. But Pac ended up getting the win. The Lucha Bros came out and they beat down on the Best Friends. And now we have a new triple team. A new tri tag team. We got Death Triangle, Pac called themselves. And man, what did they did here? They locked in. I forget who was on. It was on Orange Cassidy. He locked in the Brutalizer, but then Pentagon comes from behind and starts biting on the ear. Okay. I'm like, oh, what is he doing? What? I'm like, damn. Okay. Okay, so he's biting his ear, and then you have Ray Phoenix yelling at him. So I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Death Triangle, they mentioned it in Spanish. He let the Lucha Brothers say their name in Spanish. I'm assuming this is another triple team to add because of the rumored triple tag team belts that are rumored to come to AEW and they're going to have a triple tag team title belt, in which it kind of makes sense. You know, AEW is all about tag team wrestlings. It would make sense to have two different kinds of tag team belts. They have the regular tag team, the 2-on-2s, and the triple tag teams, the 3-on-3s. So now if you think about it, they have Jurassic Express, Best Friends, the Dark Order could be a triple team, Death Triangle, the Elite could be a triple team. There's a lot of teams that could be a triple team eventually. So we have a new one now, Death Triangle. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm all for it. They're going to make their debut next week against the Jurassic Express, coincidentally. Or no, not the Jurassic Express. Janela and Private Party. Yeah, that's the match that they're doing next week. So who knows? We'll see what happens with that. I'm excited for this new team. It's an interesting dynamic, to say the least. But, yeah, we have Pac with the Lucha Brothers. You think about it, like, their in-ring, like, their matches are going to be incredible, those three. So I'm all for it. We'll see what happens with that. So that was that on Dynamite. Jake Hagar had a match. So this is Hagar's second match in less than a week where we didn't see this guy wrestle up until Revolution. So good for him having two matches in a week. He faced off against QT Marshall. There's like brawl and chaos between all the valets after the match. It was just like craziness. Like Cody and Matt Jackson ended up coming in for the help, and it was just getting like they do these like crazy. They seem to do a lot of these crazy things. AEW seems to love doing these. And then Hangman, this is the best part. So Hangman eventually comes out, and he's walking like an alcoholic would to the ring. He's holding his drink. I mean, it took some time, but he came in and helped out. The tension's still there between the Elite as Matt was like, "Oh, are we okay? Are we okay?" And he gets flipped off by Hangman. And he goes and starts collecting 5 different drinks from I counted at least 5 different drinks in his hand from people. And I was watching this with Mrs. Master, and Mrs. Master was like, isn't he worried about the coronavirus? I mean, she's right. It's been going around in the States, and you're sitting there collecting 5 random people's drinks. You got to be careful, Hangman. Coronavirus is out there. Got to be careful. We're looking out for you. That's all. We're not trying to talk shit. We're looking out for you, Hangman. So please be careful when you're stealing other people's drinks, please. So yeah. QT Marshall, Jake Hager. Not too bad of a match. Jake Hager, 2 matches in 1 week. Good for him. Other than that, nothing really much happened on Dynamite. I thought it was still, like I said, a pretty solid episode of Dynamite. We got what we got with Jericho in the Inner Circle. They basically just destroyed Jon Moxley. They took him out before the match. They shield powerbombed him after the match. I hope Jon Moxley's okay, because that's a lot of physical stuff to do, even after there was reports that Moxley was sort of half concussed at Revolution. So hopefully he's okay. I'm not sure if we're going to see him on the show next week, or you know what, to make him look like the ultimate badass, you make Jon Moxley appear on the show next week. He's limping, he's bandaged up. You make him appear on the show every week going forward. Make him look like nothing's gonna take this guy down. He will show up no matter what. So I think that's probably what their plan is with Jon Moxley going forward. So you know what? I thought it was a good episode of Dynamite this week. I'm excited for next week in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then the week after, even more excited because A, it's in Rochester, New York, and B, I'm actually going to be at that Dynamite. So if you're at AEW Dynamite Rochester, you know, just if you see me, say hello. I'm not going to bite. Tiff will. She's the exalted one. She's going to be mad I'm throwing her under the bus here. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. Can't wait to be there. Mrs. Masters is going to be her first show, her first AEW event, and I'm bringing along my buddy No Cell Phil. We'll be driving down there to Roch and watch some AEW Dynamite. So excited. Other than that, nothing really much else for Dynamite. Double or nothing. Being the Elite, that's what I'm trying to say. Was an interesting episode this week. Again, the end of the Dynamite led into the phone call from the North Carolina number, which ended up being Matt Hardy, which they transitioned to. But the rest of Being the Elite this week was pretty funny. If you guys missed it, go check it out. I watched it, but I don't really remember too much of it, so I'm not going to sit here and review it. But it was a really good episode, and the end of it led into Matt Hardy's Free to Delete episode, so that was cool. So, yeah. We're running at 44 minutes here. It's me doing a solo, guys. Not really much else to talk to if I don't have a co-host. So I think I'm gonna probably end the show right there. So before we go anywhere, you know how we do here. You know how we do on the All Elite Podcast. We make sure all of you out there are following our social media pages. That's right. Make sure you're liking us on Facebook at All Elite Podcast, following us on Instagram at All Elite Pod, and most importantly, the most important one, the number one social media for you guys to follow is the Twitter at All Elite Pod. If you need help with any links, they're all located in the YouTube description below. If you're taking this on the go, head on over to YouTube, youtube.com/NoHoldsBarredNetwork. Find us, click the link, follow. And if you are one of those people who downloads on the go, thank you each and every single week for you guys to download this podcast on the go. We really do appreciate it. And if you guys want to take us on the go, we are available everywhere. All Elite Podcasts is found on the No Holds Barred Network. So just search up No Holds Barred Network on the following apps like iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Castbox, Podcast Addict, Deezer, Pocket Cast, Overcast, a lot of cast type apps. You can find the All Elite Podcast. Just make sure you're searching up the No Holds Barred Network. And speaking of that network, the glorious network that we are on, guys, the No Holds Barred Network official merchandise store is up and running. Make sure you are going to No Holds Barred Network, all one word, .secure-decoration.com. If you need help, the link is located down in the YouTube description below. As I said before, lots of cool looking shirts on there. And there's actually a really cool looking shirt on there called These Wolves, Music for the Elite. Yes, you know, like our intro, the song Dead to Me, and the song that was used for the MGF and Cody promo for AEW Revolution. They have their own t-shirt, guys. Music for the Elite. Go check it out. It's available on the No Holds Barred Network official merchandise store. And guess what? Just like everything on that merchandise store, all proceeds are donated to Culture City. You don't know what Culture City is? They are an organization, a non-profit organization that are teamed up with All Elite Wrestling, that are dedicated to the fight for inclusion of inclusion and acceptance of all individuals. See, I said it right there. Regardless of their unique abilities. Really cool organization, guys. We donate all the proceeds that are going there. Actually, Darren just bought a couple of shirts. So as soon as that gets processed in our store, I will be making the donation and posting it on Twitter. So look out for that. So go check out our official merchandise store. And speaking of Darren, thank you to Darren and These Wolves for letting us use the song Dead to Me each and every single week right here on the podcast. It is the official theme song for the All Elite Podcast. Dead to Me, guys. Go check out These Wolves. They are an awesome, awesome band. Check them out on Spotify, Google Play Music. Links, again, are located down below. Thank you very much, Darren, for letting us use that song. You have no idea what it means to us. And look, ended up being on AEW Revolution's promo package for MGF and Cody. It all means so much to us, guys. Thank you so very much for all your support out there. Thank you for tuning in live here on YouTube. Thank you for going back and listening to us on YouTube, downloading us on the go, and most importantly, the most important one, guys, and we will retweet you every time you do this. Thank you for your support on social media. Like when you guys share us by saying like go listen to All Elite Pod or share something and saying you're going to be listening or whatever. We love that. You have no idea what it means to me and Tiff. It is amazing the amount of support we get for this. And you know what? It is your support out there that keeps me and Tiff coming back each and every single week. We don't get paid to do this. We do this out of love for the sport of professional wrestling. We do it out of love for AEW, and we do it out of love for all you fans out there to get us to come back each and every single week. Chat AEW with you guys. Let us know what you guys' comments are down below. We love hearing everything from you. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much. That's going to wrap it up, guys, for this episode of the All Elite Podcast, episode number 72. On the No Holds Barred Network. Again, the No Holds Barred Network is your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your solo host today. Tiffany will be back next week when she feels a lot better. Kyle Masters, the self-proclaimed greatest host, and again, she'll be back next week. She's the EVP of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies. She's probably doing this right now in her room. Tiffany, guys, we'll be back next week with the next episode of All Elite Podcast. We'll see you guys later. Take it easy.